with me?
See in the background.
Okay.
Okay, you want to see
Okay.
me. There we go. How's that?
Hi, Carson.
Hi.
So Carson is in high school, and he's in 10th grade, and he is also very interested in coding. So they're going to talk to us a little bit today about what they do, why they do it, and how they do it. Okay? So Mrs. Bieber, like I said, teaches she's at the high school, and she does all kinds of things that have to do with technology, but one of her passions is coding. So would you mind introducing yourself first, Mrs. Bieber, and then Carson?
Okay. I'm Mrs. Bieber, and I work at the high school. I am not a classroom teacher. I do not have a teaching degree. My degree is actually in computer science. And I spent a lot of years doing programming. I worked for a company called Westinghouse and worked with databases, which you probably don't know what they are, but they're a way of storing information. I also worked for a company that was in the publishing industry. I've written help files. Those are those things that you look at when you don't know how to use program. And a very small part of my job here involves programming. It's a very small part of what I do. But I'm still interested, and I'm always looking forward to getting other people interested in programming. And actually, I have a son who's a student at Penn State, and he has two majors. One is math, and the other is computer science. And my daughter wants to be a teacher. She's a student at college, and so I've been telling her all about this programming. And the grade level she wants to teach is right where you are.
Very cool.
And Carson?
Well, hi, I'm Carson. Like Mrs. Houston said, I'm in 10th grade at the high school. Pretty much interested in coding like everyone, like she is. Want to get a degree in computer sciences, eventually move on to work as a coder inside the military, doing that kind of stuff or whatever they want.
Very cool.
Okay. Now, we did start a programming club here at the high school. Carson was with me last year as a member of our I team. And that's a group of students who are interested in technology, and they like to help other students and teachers with any technology issues. So if they have a problem with their projector or their computer doesn't work, they know enough troubleshooting to either help fix the problem or to know that they need to call me. And then we added this programming club because I have lots of students who are interested, so we meet after school. And so far, we've been working on Hour of Code, but Carson and a couple of the other students are also looking into writing an app for Central School District. So I'm going to keep them in touch with the other staff people at Central who want to do the same thing.
Okay. So you want to write an app for Central York School District. What kinds of things do you want to include in your app, Carson?
So far, we have the online planner, so you can write down all your homework and stuff, so the school district will have to keep buying them for everyone unless it's needed. We will have, once you get the middle school, the course selection guide, which you'll get to decide all the courses you want to take in high school. It will have a grade calculator, so you know what your grades are. It will have links all throughout the school district, so like it'll take you to the district website, it'll take you to your grades, your Google Docs. It has like a great countdown to like the next biggest break or the next day off or something. And
So it would be a countdown. How many days until Christmas break?
Right.
Yeah.
A long-term plans would be to have the app available for different devices. We might start with a web-based version so that anybody could use it, and then add an app for iPhones or Androids. I don't know if we'd go for Windows phones, but what we'd like to do is eventually get to a point where we have an area that focuses for students and for parents and even for community members, because we certainly like to involve our community in things that we do at Central, whether it's having them attend sporting events or come to our concerts, there was just a holiday bazaar at North Hills last weekend. So we can keep the community up to date on things like that.
Very nice. So it makes the life of the people in Central easier because it's all in one spot.
That's the hope.
Okay, very cool.
But it will take a long time to do this. Hopefully we can have it done, at least the first version, by the time Carson graduates. This is a big project.
You know what? We've been hearing that theme over and over again. When people code, you take little parts and then you continue to build on it. And then you go back and you work on debugging it, and then you work on growing it, making it even better. So
Yeah.
we've heard that patience is really, really important when you code.
Yes, it is. Can you tell me the story of where you mentioned debugging? Did anybody tell you the story of where that term comes from?
No. Does anybody know where debugging comes from? The word debugging? We've heard it, but we don't know where it came from. No.
Okay, well, you know that this week takes place, Computer Science Education Week is in honor of Admiral Grace Hopper, who worked for the Navy. Do you know that?
Okay, no.
Okay, well, there's lots of information on her online. You can look it up. But one of the things she did was work on one of the earliest computers. I believe it was the ENIAC or the Muckle. And one of the things, they had a problem, and she was trying to figure out what was wrong. And there was actually a bug in the computer, a real bug. And she knew of other people who had referred to programming and bugs, and she's the one that popularized the term a bug in a computer program and debugging to get rid of the bugs in the computer program. Does that make sense?
Yes, so there was actually a bug.
A real bug.
A real bug.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that's why yes, a real one.
Like an insect?
Like an insect, right?
Computers were very, very big. You can find photos online. They took up entire rooms many years ago.
Yes. Even a few years ago, they were much, much, much bigger than they are now. So they really have. How could you type on a computer that was the size of a room? Somebody wants to know.
They still had keyboards that were connected to them. And actually, originally, they were just on and off switches, and you would have to flip all the switches that you needed.
Wow.
Right? Remember you talked about binary?
We are going to.
Okay, so that's basically on and off, 1 and 0.
Okay.
And that's where it originated, and inside the computers, that's still what it is. That's why they're called digital computers.
Okay. That's pretty amazing. Now, you, Mrs. Bieber, are, a little bit like the age of some of the teachers in this room. Not you, Carson. We're wondering when you started or when you got into programming, because I know that whenever I was in school, we really didn't talk about it or know about it. So how did you get interested?
Well, my dad was an engineer, and he bought us for Christmas one year a TI-99 from Texas Instruments, and it was a little thing that you could do games with and write programs with, and you hooked it up to your TV. And then when I was a senior, I went to Central High School, and I was in the very first computer class at Central. It was called Computer Math at that time, and we wrote basic programs. And all growing up, I wanted to be a teacher, and then when I took that class, I decided, nope, I was going to be a computer scientist. So that's what I did when I went to school. I went to Penn State for computer science, and got a job in it, and I've been involved with computers ever since.
And so, Carson, how did you get interested?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Everyone knows what the leapfrog is. Like little tablet that you play games on?
When you were a kid, little leapfrogs?
Yes, the leapfrog. When I was about 3 years old was when it first came out, and that was just like the first thing I ever used as a computer. It was the coolest thing ever.
So since pretty much the time you could play with them, you were interested in them.
Yes.
Okay. Now we saw you holding something that looked kind of interesting, and we saw a video clip right before we called you. Third grade and second grade, this is what was flying around the high school in that video clip.
Carson is the one that filmed the video clip, okay, except for the video that you saw from the drone, and one of our other IT members, Caleb, was flying the drone, and one of our other members, Alyssa McDevitt, was the one doing that interview. So this is from Mr. Stauffer's class, and I know Mrs. Musone has talked to him about other computer hardware things. And Actually, my son had an internship last summer. He worked for a company called AAI, and it's down in Hunt Valley, and they make bigger drones, the military box. Now, he didn't actually get to program drones. They don't let summer interns do that, but he got to program for the company. So what Carson's doing is making his phone, just his cell phone, talk to the drone. So he's setting up a communications path between them.
Now, can you explain that at
Um,
our level? How you have
You know when you use a computer or an iPad and you hear the phrase get online or turn on Wi-Fi or connect to the network? Does that sound familiar to you?
Yep, yeah.
Okay, you know when you turn on the computer and you see those bars, or with your phone?
Yep.
It says airport or Wi-Fi? That's all they're doing.
Okay.
They're just getting, the drone actually has its own signal and he's making his phone see that signal. Okay?
You guys want to see a fly?
Yeah. It's really loud. I don't know if you could hear about the buzz of the drone, but there is definitely buzz in this room.
It is very loud. I could not hear a word that you said.
Okay.
And I could feel a lot of air. You want to up to the camera.
Now, here's the thing. The teachers in here were saying, I can't believe how calm Mrs. Bieber is. It's flying so close to her head.
Did you see me looking around like that? Okay, do you see the, like the rotors on a helicopter?
Uh-huh.
How they spin, each one of those spins.
Okay. So,
I find that they're the turbines or rotors, whatever you call them, that when you all four spin, it makes it fly.
okay. Now, how did you make it stay away from Mrs. Bieber's head?
My phone, it's kind of like an RC car, but on my
Remote
phone.
control car.
Remote control for an
Okay.
RC car on my phone.
And
So
that
it's
was-
just like maybe some of you have a TV at home that your parents use their phones or their iPads to connect to it. It's just like that concept.
Very cool.
This is actually two pieces. This part here you can't tell, but it's just like foam. And that's a protector for the drone.
Okay.
He's going to take it apart now to
Now-
show you.
We have a question about who built that.
That would be Mr. Stauffer.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Stauffer.
Mr. Stoffer.
Electronics. He teaches electronics at the high school. Unfortunately, he's retiring this year, so none of you can have him, but I'm sure the class will still be here when you get here. It will be very different by the time you hit high school, though.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the actual drone,
Okay.
and we're not going to take it apart any further.
No.
But this whole big thing it's very lightweight, and it just protects the drone because sometimes the people flying it don't have good remote control skills, and they bump it into things.
When we were filming the video that you guys saw, see the duct tape or
Yeah.
masking tape?
Yep.
We crashed into a wall and it broke off.
So good thing you had it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the way that you get it to move, the way that you get it to fly, has to do with the way that the drone is programmed, correct?
Yes.
It knows to do certain things at certain times. So what we're doing in here with our cup stacking and our Angry Birds and our Scratch, but there's different things that different classes have done. That you can eventually do something like that. Or like Carson's going to create an app for the phone or tablet that will help make life easier for you or people that you know or for people in the community. That's pretty cool.
That's right. The skills that you learn by playing these games and doing these activities are helping you learn how to think and helping you do things in a logical manner, you know, one thing at a time, because computers do not have the same types of capabilities our brains do. They can repeat many of the things that our brains can do, but if you tell a computer and you tell it the wrong thing, it's not going to do what you want it to do. So you have to be the one in charge, and you have to think how to best tell a computer to do it. And that's what the kind of skills that you're learning, how to think things out and how to solve problems, so that by the time you get to high school, maybe even middle school, you can learn a programming language that will work with things like the drone. So it's really important, and I hope it's a lot of fun for you guys to do these activities.
I would say that we're having a good time. Does anybody have any questions for Mrs. Bieber or Carson? Kai? Nice and loud.
Are there cameras on the drone, or from that little clip, or were there not cameras, but there somebody was recording?
Okay, do you remember who they said was recording it? Carson?
So there's a section of the video where you see somebody standing with a camcorder. That was filmed by the drone. There's a camera, a video camera inside the drone.
Oh my gosh, you were right. Awesome.
So you got two different perspectives.
This little pole stick right there, that's the camera. So
His mouth is open. He's impressed.
So what I would do is I connect my flash drive.
You guys know what those are?
Yeah.
I have those. I carry one of my bags, right?
I plug it in, put this back on, we fly it, and then forward directly to my flash drive.
So
That's how we got the video.
So you record the video right onto that little drive.
Yep,
Yes.
that's correct.
That is really, I think I need to come to your coding club. Okay, do you have a question, sir?
I have a comment about it. I have this helicopter kind of like it, except it's just like a plain helicopter. It's not a drone. And I usually fly it in my backyard. And whenever I fly it, it's really difficult since I can't code it. So like when I try to control it, the controller, for some reason, I can't control it. I can only make it spin and go and change the power of the blades with the remote. So whenever I fly it, I have to like run from it because I'm afraid it might hit me in the face like an actually big one and actually knock me in my glasses.
So I wonder if it needs to be debugged.
Well, helicopters are actually really neat machines. There's a whole lot of math and science involved in them. My son was showing me some videos the other day about helicopters, and a man was demonstrating with a remote control helicopter, probably similar to what you have. And I didn't realize it, but if you lose power to a helicopter, you can actually move things and somehow like bounce it before it hits the ground so it doesn't crash, even if it has no power. I was very impressed to see that.
Very cool.
And that required no programming. That was just the way the machine works. But there's lots of videos online that'll teach you about it if you're interested.
Very cool. Okay. How about we take two more? Okay. Okay. Yes, sir.
Carson, how long have you been computer programming?
Okay, so
Sorry?
how long have you been computer programming, Carson?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Did you program with the leaf frog? Or just use
I would talk with them. Probably say 5 years.
Wow.
5 years ago was when I first programmed a website, just to show off that I could do it.
You accomplished it.
Yes.
Right.
Very cool.
Do any of you use Weebly
Okay.
or Google Sites?
We use Google. I think all of us use Google. All of us use Google pretty regularly.
Okay.
Yep.
There's actually, if you've added any widgets, or sometimes you'll do something on one web page and want to add it to Google Site, and it'll say, click here, copy this to embed your link, and
Yep.
that's coding.
That's coding. That HTML. Remember, in Kid Blog, you can see it. Yep. Okay, so we have one more question. What's your name, sir?
Tyler.
Go ahead, Tyler.
It's like a GoPro camera inside the thing.
Tyler wants to know what kind of camera is inside the drone. Is it a GoPro camera? Is that right?
Right here is just a regular camera. Down here, there's a one on the bottom. So right here, is something like GoPro, but it's more durable. It's more suited for the drone, so it's not all that heavy.
Does that make sense?
Similar concepts, and all cameras have the same basic components.
Very cool. I know that one of us had a question. I think it was Garrison. Before we get off, he was interested in like programming, like motors to Legos and things like that. And I'm wondering if they do that kind of stuff with the electronics class or in coding or.
And I believe they're called the Lego Mind Readers, something like that. But in something, I think it's electronics. And in one of the classes right now, we're actually programming little RC car robot things that kind of look like crabs, so go around through mazes.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Okay. So in the electronics class, they do robotics. They program the robots, and in his AP Java class, which is a programming class, they're actually doing that. Kind of like an Arduino type thing. Yeah. So Arduino, which I believe Mrs. Musone talked about.
We're getting there.
You have lots of time. There's so much to learn. So just take it in pieces, just a little bit at a time, because you don't want to confuse yourself.
No.
Step and then move on to the next.
Yeah.
And if you need to do it again, well, hey, that's really easy with the computer. You can just do it over and over and over again, and the computer will never lose patience with you.
Good.
You might lose patience.
And that's what we heard over and over again about sticking with it. We really appreciate the time that you two have spent to talk to us. And like I said, there are a lot of us in here. So, and we're recording this so we can share it with other classes too. There were a couple of other classes that were at lunch, unfortunately.
Great.
So, what were
you can have at us if you have more questions.
Oh, don't worry. Okay, third grade and second grade, we're not going to get up and run to the camera, but you can give them a hand, and I'll pan around. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Bieber. Thank you, Carson. Have a good day, guys.
You're welcome. You have a good day, too.
Good day.
Have fun.